Hello, witches and wizards and muggles alike. Thank you for attending today's History of Magic class, though I must say that for Newt level students this is a requirement. For those who delve into the past, uncovering the twists and turns of time, puzzling over the motives of those who have long turned to ash, this class is for you. Today I will expound upon a famous figure in history for both magical and muggle kind, Merlin. A figure shrouded by the fog of time. Little is known for certain about the most famous wizard of the historical archives. And what little we know is debated fiercely. The fabled runic discourse of 1704 over Merlin's book comes to mind, where we got mixed up with the muggles at Blindham. But no one likes to talk about the dragon that was brought into that argument. And it's said that Talier's Partir included secret runes from the book that send the muggles into a bit of a tizzy, although my view on the matter is that that's where the Repello-Muggleton charm got started. Let me start with a not-so-brief summary, conveniently packaged for the occasional essay question. The Prince of Enchanters was an extraordinary charm specialist, much favored for his prodigious magical skill, as we of the magical kind are wont to exclaim over. He was said to employ wandless magic, preeminent in spell creation, and most accomplished in the runic arts, taking into account his book that I mentioned earlier, which supposedly still goes untranslated even though it's been laying for centuries in Hogwarts headmasters' bookshelves and underneath coffee cups, so I don't really believe it. He was a valued member of King Arthur's court, and some say that this experience led him to the creation of the Order of Merlin, an organization intent on protecting and aiding muggles. Though the order didn't last long after Merlin's passing, it was a forerunner of the Wizards' Council. And its name was pilfered for the modern Order of Merlin, a ward that very rarely lives up to its predecessor's ideals. Personally, I think it was an idea that was before its time, since the concept of peacefully living and aiding muggles is something we still struggle with today. Alright, so now we can get to a few of the more scandalous details. A supposed Hogwarts alumni, Merlin was said to be a Slytherin, taught by Salazar himself. Though we have historical records and a portrait to back up the claim, the fervent dissatisfaction from the occasional Gryffindor or Ravenclaw alumnus always seems to call the facts into question. It's also said that Merlin had knowledge of the cursed vaults at Hogwarts, but I can neither claim nor deny this point, seeing as it's been so recently been brought to our attention. We must let the research project do its magic, as you will. Though perhaps if you wait a year or two, you might come across a preliminary, though reputable book that will emerge on the matter, so keep tuned for that. As for Merlin's time in King Arthur's court, not a lot is known on the magical side of things, forcing us to examine Muggle historical accounts that are unreliable at best, seeing as they hold Merlin to be a figure of legend rather than of historical merit. The Muggles believe that Merlin was a figure of myth from 500 AD, predating the actual wizard by about 5 centuries, seeing as Merlin was born probably 1982 AD. Our historians are quite muddled with this mess of time via wizarding and muggle, but our best guess is that the Muggles combined earlier tales from their mythos with the famous wizard, including the Welsh tale of the crazed prophet Myrddin Wyllt, Merlin the Wild, and another Advisor King tale with Ambrosius and King Vortigern from the 7th century. The Muggles are quite curious and concerned to their tale regarding Merlin's origins, speculating that he was a half-demon child, perhaps lending credit to the fact that he may have been a half-blood wizard, son of a fearsome dark mage, but that's still up for speculation. It can be difficult to remove the facts from the legends. A few certitudes can be gleaned from Merlin's time with King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. It was known that Merlin was the advisor to a Muggle king, aiding his ascent to power and reign via magical artifacts, namely swords, and that his sworn enemy was the powerful dark witch Morgana, Queen of Avalon. I could speak more of those two, but I won't, since this is a history class and not really an edition of Spell Weekly. Muggles also say that Merlin's love of the witch Nimue led to his death, or abandonment of the king and his court, but magical society is a bit more informed on the subject. knowing that the way of great wizards and witches, that unless they meet an untimely and very public end, that you may meet a shadowed figure in a pub somewhere in a tiny village in Brittany, musing about a spell to six swords in stone or other such nonsense, and that it's up to you whether or not to believe or disbelieve. Well, thank you for joining us for today's class. I hope you took copious notes. For our next class, we'll be discussing the Goblin Wars, which is my absolute favorite subject.